Hello. Give me like a venti mocha, but I need it hot. And,
Yeah.
throw in an extra shot. No, two extra shots, actually. I want it really creamy. So use that alternative milk that froths really well, the one that tastes kind of savory, not sweet. I also need about 6 bumps of vanilla and make sure it's served in the smallest available cup so I can carry it easily. Oh, and hurry up. I'm absolutely full of beans today and I need to get moving.
Whoa, 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 stop. What in the name of caffeinated chaos was that?
I was just ordering my highly specific, energy boosting coffee. I asked for a venti mocha, 3 total shots, customized milk, flavor pumps, a specific cup size. It seemed efficient to me, very clear. I was using my vocabulary.
Efficient may be in the way a bulldozer is efficient. But did you hear that tone, listener? Have you ever made that kind of mistake? Because that opening line, specifically the phrase, give me, is, it's the fast track to sounding really unnatural, demanding, a little high maintenance, even if your grammar is technically perfect.
Aggressive. I was trying to be direct. I thought that was the goal of clear English communication. Why is give me so strong, so demanding in this situation?
And that is the essential thing we're deep diving into today. Welcome back to English Podcast Voice, the place where we learn English effectively, focusing on tone, culture, and fluency, not just textbook rules.
And have fun doing it. I'm Riley, and I am ready to learn how to conquer the coffee counter without causing, an international incident. And I'm Quinn. Today, we're going deep into what is probably the most essential and often terrifying daily conversation for anyone using English ordering coffee. We've collected a huge stack of sources from professional barista confessions to linguistic analyses of service interactions, and we are going to cut through all the textbook clutter. We're giving you the cheat sheet to sound natural, to sound confident from the moment you step into the queue or line, all the way to grabbing your caffeine fix. So our mission today is to save you, the listener, from being flagged forever as a high-maintenance customer.
And to make sure you never again receive that subtle, judgmental barista side-eye.
Right.
Exactly. Before we fix this complicated, multi-shot, messy, venti situation and rescue you from that cultural mistake, please hit like and subscribe to English Podcast Voice right now. It truly helps us keep the coffee machine running.
Deal. Okay, so let's unpack the disaster. Where did I go wrong, sentence by sentence?
Let's do it. Okay, let's get into the initial linguistics disaster, that opening line. Hello, give me like a venti mocha. The absolute focus here has to be on the verb form.
Okay, so I was thinking I was using the imperative, like a command for efficiency to save time for everyone. Why is give me so wrong in a service interaction?
Well, because the imperative form is really used for instructions, for close relationships, or for emergencies. When you use gimme with a service worker, you're kind of treating the interaction as transactional and hierarchical. You are commanding them.
Oh,
It sounds really direct and strong, like a demand, instead of a polite request. And this is a perfect illustration of how fluency goes way beyond just grammar. The problem isn't the correctness of the words, it's the tone. It's the social contract you're creating.
so the crucial concept our sources are talking about here is what they call softening the request. We need to make the command sound more like a question.
Precisely. Fluent English speakers, they automatically default to these polite interrogative forms to smooth the conversation. We use modal verbs like could or would to ask for permission, even though we know we're just buying the item. It's a social lubricant.
It sets a positive, friendly tone with the barista. So if you want to sound confident, you don't sound demanding. You sound courteous. You sound like you know the social rules.
Yeah.
So what should I have said instead of give me a latte? This is the part that I feel like needs to become an automatic muscle memory response for our listeners. Okay, so we have 3 gold standard, universally appropriate ways to start your order. These should replace give me immediately. First one, and maybe the most common because it's so short and polite, is could I get a dab? Could I get a dab?
It's short, it's polite, it uses that soft modal verb, and it's universally accepted in basically any English-speaking service context.
Yeah, very clean. It immediately shifts the tone from a command to a question about possibility. Number 2, a little more casual but excellent for relaxed, natural speech is I'll have a, I'll have a way.
Notice the contraction there, I will, becomes I'll.
Hmm.
The linguistic function of this is key.
Okay, so why does that simple contraction I'll suddenly make me sound more fluent than saying I will? What's the subtle linguistic rule here?
That's a brilliant question. The frequent use of contractions like I'll, I'd, your, and so on is a really strong marker of conversational ease. It's relaxed, natural speech. When you use the uncontracted forms, I will have, I would like, it often signals that you're speaking slowly, carefully, or maybe you're reading from a script in your head.
Right, it sounds like a robot.
A little bit.
Hmm.
Native speakers contract automatically because it's just less effort to articulate. It speeds up the pace. So speed isn't about rushing the words. It's about connecting them and using those contractions smoothly. Using I'll have a venti signals, I know what I'm doing, and I'm comfortable speaking this way.
Okay, that makes so much sense. What's the third one? And the third option is always friendly and universally appropriate. It's probably the most textbook friendly option that still sounds totally fluent. So instead of demanding, give me a venti, you immediately soften it to, could I get a venti mocha, please? Or I'll have an iced latte. Yeah, I can hear the difference. It feels lower stakes, more collaborative. It is. And this brings us to the next crucial component of politeness, the power of please and thanks. Politeness is just non negotiable. You should never sacrifice it for speed. The word please, usually placed at the end of the request, like, could I get a large coffee, please, keeps the tone friendly. It's like a little polite punctuation mark at the end of the sentence. Perfect. And swift, natural acknowledgments are also essential. When the barista gives you the price, or hands you the drink, or confirms the order, avoid just silence or a blank stare. Use quick, natural acknowledgments. Thanks, thank you so much, thanks a lot, or even just cheers. These small phrases, they show you're confident and engaged, like you value the interaction, even if it's super brief.
Right. They're conversational glue.
And what if the barista repeats the order back to me? For verification, which happens all the time to prevent mistakes. Yeah, that verification step is essential for accuracy, especially with custom orders. Our pro tip here is to avoid robotically saying, yes, that is correct. Fluent responses are smooth and quick. Try, yes, that's right, exactly, spot on, or even just a simple, perfect. Okay. Those signals tell the barista they got it right, and it shows you're speaking with ease and familiarity.
Totally. Okay, so the tone is fixed. Now we have to address the second part of my opening disaster,
Oh,
the size game. I said venti, but I didn't specify hot or cold, which you said is a critical mistake because of the volume difference. This is the venti-cold paradox.
yeah.
That's a brilliant linguistic trap. We have to deep dive into the proprietary naming system, specifically the one made famous by Starbucks, which has influenced how so many people order coffee, especially in North America.
Right. I know venti is Italian for 20, and trenta is 30, so that implies ounces, right? That's the basic translation, yes. The founder was inspired by Italian coffee culture and introduced names like tall, grande, and venti. But here's the irony that always trips up learners and even native speakers. Tall sounds substantial, right? Like a skyscraper. Yeah, you'd think it's large.
But it is actually the smallest widely available standard size. It's only 12 ounces.
A 12-ounce tall. That is deliberately confusing for anyone coming from a standard small, medium, large system. Why not just call it small?
Well, it stems from the original menu configuration in the 1990s, where they had short, which was 8 ounces, then tall and grande. When venti was introduced, the short was often phased out, which left tall as the functional small size. The system is historical, not logical.
Okay, that explains a lot. Now, let's address that venti difference you stumbled over. 20 ounces versus 24 ounces. This is the absolute crucial detail that holds up lines and frustrates baristas. A venti hot drink is indeed 20 ounces. However, a venti cold drink is 24 ounces. Why the 4-ounce difference? Is it just to make the cold drink seem bigger or something?
It's actually due to the physics of ice displacement. The larger cup is required to accommodate the ice without reducing the amount of actual beverage you are paying for. If they used a standard 20-ounce cup for iced coffee, 4 ounces of that volume would just be ice, meaning you would get less liquid.
Oh, so the 24-ounce cup ensures you get the full 20 ounces of coffee plus the ice.
Exactly. It's an integrity measure, but it makes the terminology pretty ambiguous. So if you don't specify hot or iced, and you just say venti, you might get the wrong volume, or the barista has to stop and ask for clarification, which just holds up the queue.
Right. You force a pause and an extra question, which messes up the smooth flow of the whole thing.
And speaking of volume, we should mention the largest cold size, the Trenta, which is 30 ounces. This is exclusively for select iced drinks, teas, and refreshers, and it is a truly massive container of liquid. But here's the key takeaway for our listeners who find these proprietary names overwhelming. What's the fluent shortcut? The good news is that everyone understands the standard terms: small, medium, and large. Even if the menu prominently displays tall, grande, and venti, baristas will instantly translate small, medium, and large into their corresponding sizes. Our advice: just use the standard terms if you want to avoid confusion and speak clearly, especially if you're feeling stressed or nervous. It's an easy safety net.
That takes a huge load off. Now that we've mastered politeness and sizes, I'm ready to move into the high-level customization. I need those fluent power phrases.
Then let's play the game. We're moving into the core lesson. Time to upgrade your English. We are moving beyond the basics into high-level fluency with 5 common customization scenarios. This is where you master the natural phrasing native speakers use every day.
Okay, bring on the challenge. My goal is to use technical English vocabulary without sounding like a demanding robot this time. We shall see. Let's start with upgrade number 1. Customizing milk without being complicated.
You want a plant-based milk that will still froth nicely for your latte, and you need to specify that change from standard dairy milk.
Yeah.
How do you ask for that naturally? Okay, I remember my first mistake, talking about oat liquid. I need to be concise. Think I'll try. Could I have a cappuccino, and I want the barista to use oat milk, please?
Close. You use could I have, which is excellent, but I want the barista to use is still a bit cumbersome. It focuses on instructing the employee rather than just requesting the change. We need a simpler modifier.
Right, focus on the modification itself. So what's the fluid, natural way to swap an ingredient? The power phrase is, can I have that with oat milk instead?
Yeah.
Instead. That one word carries all the conversational weight. It signals that this is a substitution to the standard recipe. Exactly. The word instead is a polite and natural way to signal a deviation or a change in ingredient. And speaking of oat milk, this is a fantastic choice for that perfect texture. Our sources dive into the science. Oat milk is often praised for its creamy texture and its excellent frothing ability because it has this ideal balance of fat and protein. Specifically, the barista-formulated versions have higher fat content, which closely mimics dairy milk. That makes sense. It's about the chemistry. I've also heard that sometimes almond milk curdles in hot coffee. Is that a real thing?
It absolutely is, and this is where knowing your customization details comes in handy. Almond milk and sometimes soy milk can curdle when it's exposed to the high acidity and heat of espresso. If you're customizing, you should know these details.
Okay, good to know.
For comparison, soy milk is creamy, but some people notice a subtle, beany aftertaste. Coconut milk can be oily and has a really strong flavor you might not want. So know the characteristics of the substitution you're asking for.
I'll take the oat milk. Let's practice that power phrase in a quick dialogue.
I'll have a grande cappuccino.
Can I have that with oat milk instead? I heard it makes amazing microfoam, and I definitely prefer the more savory profile. Perfect. Short, specific, and technically informed. Now let's look at upgrade number 2. Handling temperature and add-ins.
You want your iced coffee strong, but you want to control the sugar yourself. You need to order extra strength and separate the sweetener in a polite, efficient way. Okay, I won't say make it very strong, and I know on the side is the key phrase for separation. How about, could I please get an extra boost of coffee and have the sugar packets given to me separately?
Good effort on politeness, but you used extra boost of coffee and sugar packets given to me separately, when one word would work for each. We need the professional fluent terminology.
Ugh, the espresso shot vocabulary is essential here, isn't it? The power phrase is, could I get an extra shot of espresso with the sugar on the side? Extra shot is so much cleaner. And on the side is so concise.
Exactly. Use word extra consistently for more, whether it's extra foam or an extra shot. Conversely, use no or less for omission like no whip or less ice. And on the side is the ideal term for requesting additions separately so you can control the quantity yourself.
I need my caffeine fix today because I did not get enough sleep. Then you would confidently say, could I get an extra shot of espresso with the sugar on the side? I need to be full of beans by lunch, and I like to measure my own sweetness. That's smooth. Okay, upgrade number 3.
The barista asks for here or to go. You plan to stay, use their Wi-Fi, and work for a couple of hours. You want to communicate that clearly and quickly. I know my previous guess was way too long. I'm thinking short, but still polite. How about this? I'm planning to consume it right here in the establishment, so I'd prefer a ceramic cup, please.
Excellent vocabulary, but completely out of context for the spontaneity of native speech. You used a 30-word sentence when 3 words are required. This is where fluency demands maximum clarity with minimal linguistic effort.
Minimal effort, maximum clarity.
Go.
Got it. The power phrase is simply, for here, please. Or if you're leaving, to go, thanks. Wow. That's it. Just 2 or 3 words.
That's all you need. We recommend keeping the please or thanks to maintain that friendly, collaborative tone, but the core message is just those 2 words.
I'll have a large mocha with an extra shot.
For here or to go?
To go, thanks. I'm in a hurry to catch the bus. Perfect. You just signaled confidence and clarity. On to upgrade 4, using fillers for confidence and thinking time.
You're at the counter, the barista is waiting, and you're trying to decide between 2 complicated seasonal drinks. You need a moment to think without sounding nervous or creating an awkward silence.
This is the moment I dread. When I get nervous, I usually just point or stutter, which only makes me feel more anxious.
Silence and stuttering signal anxiety, not confidence. Paradoxically, the secret to sounding most fluent is utilizing words that seem like pauses.
Ah, the strategic use of functional fillers. Not mistakes, but cognitive signals.
Indeed. Fillers like, well, and even controlled uses of or are functional elements of fluent speech. They show your thinking, they prevent the barista from interrupting, and they buy you time to form your order.
So the power phrase for this needs to be an integrated thought process that includes the filler. It is. The power phrase is, well, I think I'll actually take a large iced mocha today.
I love that. Shows consideration and, well, signals the transition to your final decision.
Sure.
It proves you're not struggling with English, you're just struggling with the delightful choice between delicious drinks.
Exactly. You can also use adverbs like actually, or basically to start a statement, like actually, could I switch that to oat milk? Or basically, I need 4 shots this morning.
Okay, I'm ordering, but I'm suddenly unsure of the sweetness. I need a second.
What size and flavor would you like? Is the standard sweetness level very high? Well, actually, make it a grande, please, with only half the syrup. I'm trying to cut back on sugar.
Flawless. You used 2 strategic fillers to navigate an uncertainty, and it sounded completely natural and polite. All right, last one. Upgrade number 5, dealing with names.
The barista asks for your name to write it on the cup, and it's a name that is often misspelled. You want to prioritize clarity and speed, preventing them from having to ask for clarification later.
I would say it's Riley, and please don't spell it wrong this time.
Again, we don't want to challenge the barista or imply they're incompetent. We want collaboration and efficiency. Anticipating the error and proactively fixing it is the fluent technique.
Clarity, anticipation, and collaboration. Okay, I'll take control of the spelling, but I'll lighten the mood. The power phrase is, it's Riley, R-I-L-E-Y. People always spell it wrong. Oh, that is so smart. You prioritize clarity by spelling it out, which speeds up the process for them.
And adding that small, self-deprecating joke, people always spell it wrong, is a perfect, natural small talk technique. It connects you to the barista on a human level because you are acknowledging a shared experience. It's friendly, and it makes the whole transaction smoother.
I can use that. It's all about building that small connection.
It is. And when the drink is finally ready and they call out, "Order for Riley," the most concise and fluent response is simply, "That's me, thanks."
No long acknowledgement needed, just confident recognition.
You got it. We've mastered the phrases, but now we enter the danger zone, the unspoken, non-linguistic cultural etiquette. Baristas are typically patient, but certain habits can cause immediate frustration.
Okay, I need the definitive list. What makes a barista secretly cringe when I walk in the door? We start with the order itself, the overly complicated order. While customization is the norm, you risk being flagged as high maintenance if your drink involves a seemingly never ending list of ingredients, overly picky preferences, drastic omissions, and other ultra specific qualities.
Hmm.
So, if my latte requires more than, say, three modifications, like 6 pumps of syrup, light ice, a specific foam texture, and 3 extra shots, I should maybe pause and consider if I'm being reasonable, especially if it's busy.
Exactly. You're trading your complex preference for the time of everyone waiting behind you.
Right.
A single modification is fine. A full recipe change is problematic. And linked to this is the notorious secret menu trap.
Ah, things you see on social media.
Right. If you're asking for a drink by a fun name like a sparkly magical unicorn surprise,
Yeah.
you can't rely on the barista knowing it.
You have to know the recipe. Every single modification.
Exactly. You must know and list the precise modifications before ordering. Be specific. I'd like a venti iced tea with 3 pumps of raspberry, soy milk, and light ice, for example. Check. Next up, territorial disputes. The seating crisis. Is it rude to claim a table before ordering? I always worry about this. This is probably the most nuanced point of cafe etiquette. Many people view bizzing a coffee as paying a kind of rent for the privilege of occupying space and using Wi-Fi.
That makes complete economic sense. It's a transaction for the space as well as the coffee.
Yeah.
So, rule number one. It is generally considered perfectly normal to set down a backpack or situate yourself before ordering, unless seating is minimal or sparse and others are clearly waiting in line ahead of you. If it's busy, you must order first. You don't want to skip the seat line. Okay, order first. If it's busy, that's a good rule.
And rule number two, which is critical during peak hours, is about table hogging. It is widely considered inconsiderate for a single person to occupy a large table, a four-top, at peak hours, even if they have ordered.
Right. Be mindful of space. If you're by yourself, opt for a smaller table or the counter. Don't take up real estate meant for four when you only need one chair. Now let's look at the cultural context of waiting. The queue versus the line. Understanding this difference is cultural bedrock. We use line in the US, but I hear queue elsewhere. The word itself is different.
Yes. In the United States, it's a line, often with more random spacing,
Mm.
but the first come, first served principle is absolute. In the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, it is universally a queue, and the cultural rigidity around it is much, much more pronounced.
Rigid how? What happens if I accidentally leave a small gap?
In the UK, queuing is sometimes described as being taught in the mother's womb. Queues are expected to be straight, orderly, and tight. Any deviation, like cutting in or leaving too much space, risks noticeable nonverbal reprimands.
And what's the reprimand? What happens?
Specifically, severe throat clearing and coughs, directed subtly but clearly in your direction. The British passive-aggressive cough is a serious cultural warning sign that you have violated the social contract.
Wow, that is a level of social pressure I did not anticipate. The stakes are high, they are. And the final cultural minefield, the tipping minefield. This varies dramatically by region. I hear about the US tipping system all the time. Is it really necessary for a simple takeaway coffee?
In the U.S., generally, yes. Tipping is a necessary part of the social contract because staff wages are structured to depend on tips. Federal law allows employers to pay tipped employees a much lower minimum wage than the standard one.
So their actual earnings depend on tips.
Heavily. For a takeaway coffee, convention suggests leaving $1 or 20% of the total bill. If you get a $5 coffee, you should generally budget $1 for the tip. It's an economic reality you have to factor into the price.
So the coffee isn't $5, it's 6. I need to adjust my mental budget.
Exactly. Now, contrast that with the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Since hospitality staff in these regions are generally paid at least the standard minimum wage or higher, tipping is not expected for counter service in a cafe.
It's optional, even if an electronic tip screen comes up, which they often do now.
It is strictly optional for counter service. In fact, many locals find the electronic tip screen for simple transactions to be a bit aggressive. If a tip screen is presented to you for a takeaway coffee, customers in these countries are generally not under pressure to comply. Tipping is typically reserved for exceptional table service.
That is a massive difference. You have to know the regional, cultural, and economic rules before you act.
It affects both your wallet and the barista's perception of your cultural awareness. Knowledge here is truly power. We've covered a tremendous amount of ground, from mastering fluent tone to avoiding the British Q cough. Let's recap the key power phrases in a quick list for you to memorize.
Ready for the instant summary. Instead of demanding "give me use," "could I get it please?" to change ingredients naturally, I'll have that with oat milk instead. For answering the dine-in or takeaway question, for here, thanks. To confirm an order accurately, yes, exactly, or perfect. And to buy yourself crucial thinking time. Well, I think I'll take a latte. Remember, don't worry about speaking fast. Focus on speaking naturally and politely. That relaxed cadence signals true competence. I love it. Now, time for the challenge. We are challenging you, the listener, to use a coffee idiom today. First, if someone is being unrealistic or needs a wake-up call, tell them to. Wake up and smell the coffee. It means face reality, stop being in denial. Or if you see someone with great infectious energy, like I was earlier, you can say they're full of beans, meaning they're very active and lively. Try using that one today.
Ready to be the most fluent and polite person in the cafe. Ready to conquer the sizing system and the cultural nuances of ordering.
Hit like and subscribe to English Podcast Voice right now.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into coffee counter fluency.
I feel empowered and culturally aware. Bye.
See you next time.